John chapter 21, beginning to read at verse 9. When they came ashore, they saw a charcoal fire there with fish laid on it and some bread. Jesus said, "Bring some of the fish you have caught." Simon Peter went on board and hauled the net to land. It was full of big fish, 153 in all, and yet, many as they were, the net was not torn. Jesus said, "Come and have breakfast." None of the disciples dared to ask, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. Jesus came, took the bread and gave it to them, and the fish in the same way. This makes the third time that Jesus appeared to his disciples after his resurrection from the dead. John is a rich gospel full of very many famous stories, including this one, obviously, as we just heard, after the resurrection, where Jesus meets with his disciples and has breakfast with them. John is also, I think, quite well known for a lot of Jesus' stories about vines and vineyards. If you'll forgive me, I'm going to share a picture along with you now, even though there were no vines or vineyards in the story I've just read, but we'll come on to that in a minute. Now, workplaces, including the one I work in, are often described as having a grapevine. It captures the way work people and work colleagues collaborate and support each other, sharing information, maybe a little bit of technical knowledge if you work in a technical company, or just general help as you go along. It captures the value of the teamwork that you've got there as well, I think. I think a broader term for that might as well be ecosystem as well, because most companies include not just the people who work for it, also people who supply to it. You could be coffee bars, IT services, servicing buildings, etc., etc. Many people working extremely hard, and of course the clients and the customers who come into work there as well. As an ecosystem, that's another good approach to understanding a vine. They were an important part of life in Jesus' time, as much as today, vital for the health and survival of the community, and sort of an environment for not just the people, but also animals and birds and insects and other plants that goes to create that ecosystem and underpin that community. Our enemies often destroyed vines because by doing that you were destroying the ability for a village or community to have life. So their importance in the community is, I think, being clear as a metaphor as well. COVID has damaged communities. Really looking at work again, people obviously lost jobs. Others have been exposed to considerable and high levels of dangerous work, especially frontline workers during the past year. Others are sort of locked in at home and locked away from their colleagues. I think the best way to understand the last set, I think, is to share a story one of my friends at work expressed to me. He said work's become transactional. I think previously when we did something, we'd have all got together in one of the offices, we'd have agreed the aims, met the other people in the team, worked out what was going on, who needed to do what and what needed to be done. Whereas now it's simply transactional. You're a voice on the phone, you're asked to do something and you do it. Now Jesus is rebuilding his relationships with his disciples here, and this is our link into work at the moment. He's rebuilding it with Peter after an extremely difficult circumstances, far worse than what we've been through, but nonetheless important, and he invests time in doing this as well. Now, we will be told we can return at some stage, and those in work will have to work hard to rebuild our relationships, these sort of ecosystems, the communities we're part of, but the whole of this, not just our colleagues, but also the people we work with, the people we buy sandwiches and coffee from, the hotels where we maybe stay in, the people who drive us, and etc., etc. I think as Christians, we've got a really key role to play in this rebuilding. Jesus sets us a really strong example in how he does that with his disciples, and it's important and something to carry forward as we gradually start returning to work.